All right, let's dive into a really fascinating moment in the book of Zechariah. It's a point where all the visions suddenly stop and something happens in the real world. We're talking about a high priest, a royal crown, and a prophecy that seems to break all the rules. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so this verse right here, this is the one that everything really hinges on. It introduces this kind of mysterious figure called the branch, who's given this monumental task. But who is he really? And what in the world does it mean that he's going to build the temple? Well, to figure that out, we've got to back up just a few verses.
All right, so first up, a command that comes all the way from Babylon.
So in verse 9, we get this phrase, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying." Now, this is a huge signal, right? It's a shift. God is telling Zechariah, okay, stop watching visions and start doing something. It's going to be a living, breathing object lesson for everyone to see.
Then in verse 10, God points out the key players. You've got Heldai, Tobijah, and Jedaiah. Now these guys have just come back from exile in Babylon, and they're bringing gifts, silver and gold for the temple. They're being hosted by this influential guy, Josiah. And these guys, these ordinary, faithful men, are about to see their donations used for something, well, something pretty extraordinary.
And that brings us to the main event, the crowning of Joshua.
The command in verse 11 is super specific. Zechariah is told to take that silver and gold from the exiles, have crowns made, and then place them on the head of Joshua, the high priest. I mean, think about how powerful this is as a symbol. You're literally taking the gifts of the faithful and turning them into an emblem of royalty.
And right away, this should make you stop and ask, wait a minute, why would you put a royal crown on a priest? You see, in ancient Israel, those two roles, king and priest, were kept strictly separate. Kings were from the line of Judah, priests from the line of Levi. Mixing them was a total no-go. So what is God trying to show everybody with this shocking ceremony?
And the answer comes in just 2 words. Behold the branch.
You see, the prophecy in verse 12 is actually pointing past Joshua to someone in the future. Zechariah announces, "Behold the man whose name is the branch." Now this title, the branch, it's a known messianic title. It refers to a future king who's going to fulfill this dual role that Joshua is only acting out for a moment.
So this all leads to this radical, totally new idea, a priest sitting upon a throne.
And this is where it all comes together so brilliantly. The prophecy says that the branch shall be a priest upon his throne, and the council of peace shall be between them both. He's going to hold both offices at the same time. You got the priesthood, which represents people to God, and you got the kingship, which represents God's rule to the people. And when you perfectly unite them in one person, the text calls it a council of peace. Just incredible.
But just when you think you've got it figured out, the prophecy throws a bit of a curveball. Verse 13 repeats a key phrase, "Even he shall build the temple of the Lord." And this seems to completely contradict something that was prophesied earlier in the very same book. So take a look at this. Back in chapter 4, the prophecy says that Zerubbabel will finish the temple. But here in chapter 6, it says the branch will build it. So what's going on? How can both of these be true?
And here's the absolute key. They are not talking about the same temple. While Zerubbabel was busy building a physical temple made of stone and wood, the prophecy about the branch is pointing to a completely different kind of temple, a spiritual one.
Okay, so what happens to the actual physical crowns that Zechariah made? Well, they become a crown for a memorial.
Well, verse 14 tells us they were supposed to be placed in the temple as a memorial. They were meant to be a permanent reminder of the incredible generosity of Heldai, Tobiah, and Jedaiah, but also a reminder of the amazing prophecy about the coming priest king that their gifts helped bring to life. And this all brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the call to build.
Verse 15 is really the grand finale of this whole prophecy. First, you get this amazing promise of inclusion. They that are far off shall come and build in the temple of the Lord. But, and this is a big but, there's a condition attached. This will only happen if you will diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God. So the fulfillment of the promise is tied directly to obedience.
And that leaves us with something really powerful to think about. You know, if the true temple is a spiritual one that's built by the Messiah, then this ancient prophecy suddenly takes on a whole new layer of meaning. It makes you wonder, right? What does it mean for us today, people who might once have been considered far off, to have a part in building this spiritual temple? It's a huge question, and it echoes all the way from the pages of Zechariah right into our own lives.